Hello, I'm Jim Timon, Executive Director of the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, AASHTO, and welcome to YouTube Live, where we'll be announcing this year's TSMO Award overall winner. The National Operations Center of Excellence is a partnership between AASHTO, the Institute of Transportation Engineers, ITE, and the Intelligent Transportation Society of America, ITS America. The Center of Excellence is also supported by the Federal Highway Administration at the U.S. Department of Transportation. The National Operations Center of Excellence exists to provide resources, knowledge, and information to promote the use of Transportation Systems Management and Operations, or TSMO. Each year, the National Operations Center hosts the TSMO Awards to honor the best of TSMO happening around the country. But they also build case studies out of the award submissions. There are now more than 100 of these case studies capturing the great work of TSMO practitioners. Check out the link in the chat box to see all of them. Earlier in the year, NOCO announced the 4 category winners for this year's awards. Those winners are, in the Best TSMO Project category, Houston TransStar for their roadway flood warning system. In the Agency Improvement category, North Carolina DOT for their statewide Central Signal System Initiative. In the Data Management category, the Georgia Department of Transportation for their entry on improving TSMO in Georgia using data. And in the Workforce Development category, Washington State DOT for their TSMO Workforce Development Program. But each year, we also announce one TSMO Award overall winner from these 4 category winners. And this year's overall winner is Georgia DOT for their Improving TSMO in Georgia Using Data project. Welcome Meg Perkle, Georgia DOT's Chief Engineer, along with Matt Glasser and Alan Davis of Georgia DOT, who are both Assistant State Traffic Engineers. Congratulations to all of you and to the Georgia Department of Transportation for this project and for the award.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jim. You know, I don't get any credit for this award. It's all these guys, but I'm just so excited to be here because I'm so incredibly proud of our operations team. And I've often said we have the best operations team in the nation. And so this award is really the result of their passion and their brilliance. And I just could not be happier to see them receive this recognition. They're always looking for what's next in operations in Georgia and how to be successful. And every day, statewide, our citizens, they reap the benefits of their creativity and their determination. So thank you so much. We're so excited.
Well, that's great, Meg. We're really excited to be able to recognize you all as the overall winner here for this year's awards. So maybe let's take a minute to talk a little bit about this project. I mean, it's something that's focused on automated traffic signal performance measures and how you were able to bring $250,000 in annual savings to the Georgia Department of Transportation. Can you tell us a little bit about traffic signal performance measure, or how traffic signal performance measures can produce so much savings for your agency and maybe for others who are interested in taking a similar approach?
Thanks, Jim. I think I'll go ahead and start, and then I'll hand it off to Alan to go into a little bit more detail. But this project really started on the heels of what Utah DOT produced in their ATSPM, performance measures website. And that free, that open source software really was a springboard for the Georgia DOT to get into this world. And as we started building our system and expanding it, it became very evident very quickly that using that software, which is built to look very specifically at individual traffic signals, was not quite enough. So the program that I managed at the time, the Regional Traffic Operations Program, looks at traffic signals across Metro Atlanta, and at the time it was about 1,700 traffic signals. So trying to go into each one individually gets very, very labor intensive very quickly. And so what we had been doing historically was building these monthly reports to determine what's going on with the system. And we did that, and we had been doing that for 10 years up to that point because we felt it was important to be a transparent government, to let the citizens know, to let our stakeholders know, this is what we're doing. hold us accountable. What can we be doing better? Ask these questions to us. But those reports are about 100, 150 pages long every single month. And, when you're trying to search a Word document by hand, it can get tedious, and it gets very tedious to build those. And so by aggregating all that data that we already had into something that could be done, through a website, it was just a natural conclusion that this is going to speed up that process. And so that was where we saw that instantaneous savings of just, we no longer have to spend the man hours building these reports. They're done automatically. But, let me hand it off to Alan to talk about, more of the savings that FHWA helped us realize after the fact.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, there's a study that Federal Highways has recently put out that really dug into this through their efforts through everyday counts and looked at case studies in individual agencies about what do these measures, these suite of tools, really provide to agencies in full benefit. That our reference here was that particular effort that Matt led to get rid of 150-page reports every month. But the real true cost benefit that's come from this, and not just from user delay improvements, operational improvements, but also in the more focused maintenance activities, more focused in operations engineer activities. For Georgia alone, the benefit was over $12 million annually that's realized just from the implementation of these suite of tools. So that's tremendous, and we're just scratching the surface with it. It's something that's really affected a lot of our business processes, and we continue to find new ways that this technology, these tools, which in my opinion are a real paradigm shift in how traffic signals are maintained and operated. We're realizing more and more benefit every day through this, and through our partners who are using it to bring innovation to Georgia, not only on the public side, but also private, and through our vendors that we work with. It's really an incredible effort. And I think that as more and more agencies get involved with this, that realization of savings and benefit from these tools will continue to increase.
So I love the answers that the two of you gave, because Matt, you talked about how you got one of the ideas from this project from the Utah Department of Transportation. That's a great example of where exchanging ideas among peers it will help can help all the people involved. And one of the things that AASHTO as an organization really focuses on is that peer-to-peer exchange. The fact that we shouldn't be afraid to look across all states for good ideas and then steal the ones that are working and incorporate them in our state. And then Alan, you mentioned the Everyday Counts initiative as well. That's a great example of a partnership with FHWA and with the state DOTs. And I think we just had a webinar yesterday on Everyday Counts, and I think that we really are, doing a great job within the state DOT community of highlighting some of those more innovative practices through the Everyday Counts initiative. So I'm really happy that both of you mentioned both of those instances. Maybe a little bit of a follow-up to what you said. You built this website to be public facing, and you've got nearly 500 users now. And you built the code for the website to be open source. How have those choices been important to the process for this initiative?
Going back to the original implementation, this goes back to research that was done around 2010, 2011 through pooled fund research. And I'm gonna name drop a little bit here, and I'm not going to be able to name everyone who's been a part of this, but at Federal Highways, Eddie Curtis and Rick Denny have been tremendous in promoting and supporting this. Purdue University, Darcy Bullock and his team, and Indiana DOT, Jim Sturdivant and his team, Utah DOT, Mark Taylor and all his colleagues over there. The list goes on and on and on of the pioneers who have really invested this technology. And it was all built around, and a hats up to UDOT for this open source participation, so that they could publish something that could go out and other users could buy into it and build into it. And so there's this, rather than a single channel of innovation through a single agency, you've got users from across the country and across the globe even buying into the system, contributing back into it and things. It's very much what the software world does for these things. And our friends in IT will praise the benefits of open source software all the time. And so it's really a page out of that playbook. And it's been great. We've been able to contribute back in as an agency to the main system, if you will. And I think that, Matt, if you want to talk a little bit about the choice to open source the Mark I platform and some of the successes other agencies have had in adopting it as well.
Yeah. So, again, following right behind what Utah did, I think that the decision was made pretty much, day one, that we were not going to keep this specific to Georgia, that we wanted to follow in the same footsteps, that what we were doing needed to be available to any other DOT that wanted to use it. And while some of the applications were built specific to Georgia, for example, tying into our maintenance platform, the code was there for other people to look at, and the notes were given to say, this is how we did it. And so since then, I believe Maricopa County has adopted this. I believe Utah has started working on it, as well as Virginia DOT. So we're really happy to be able to provide that, in the same way that Utah DOT does it. Our only payment is just to say, Georgia helped make this originally.
Well, that's great. Again, I'm Jim Timon. I'm the executive director of AASHTO, and I'm here with Meg Perkle, Matt Glasser, and Alan Davis of the Georgia Department of Transportation, who have just been announced as the winner of the TSMO Award overall winning project. We're talking about their automated traffic signals performance measures project. We've already talked a little bit about this, the fact that a lot of what you started with here from the project that you have really came from some of the ideas that you've seen in other places. And really, that's one of the core foundations of the National Operations Center for Excellence and of TSMO in general. I mean, the TSMO community, I think, has been really great about sharing best practices and building case studies in order to bring other people into the field and give them the opportunity to expand in this area. Are there any other examples of knowledge sharing or resources from FHWA that have contributed to your success in Georgia?
So recently, for quite a while, we've been a part of the TMC pooled fund study, been actively engaged in terms of research that we're providing back as well as ingesting. We were very happy to work alongside Nevada for DOT, for example, on some of the ITS asset performance measures that were recently released in terms of recommendations on how states should manage their assets. There was some great research that came back from them that we are eagerly awaiting, and I believe the folks managing the MUTCD are eagerly awaiting about how to use color DMS appropriately, what the different mechanisms are, what works, what doesn't work. So those have been some very specific ones that have come out recently from the pooled fund study led by FHWA that have excited me, and I know that we're going to be implementing on our side.
One area I see a lot of leadership and participation, especially at the federal level, that's benefited us in Georgia is in the world of connected vehicles. That's been a rapidly evolving and interesting, if you will, topic to focus on in the world of operations. And so much of that for a nationwide interoperability requires a lot of federal level leadership. And so I think in a lot of ways, we've seen FHWA and national partners like that, and even other state agencies and some local agencies across the country step forward and put their foot out there for a little bit of extra participation and leadership to help push that to the next level.
Well, Alan, you bring up connected and autonomous vehicles, and I think it's important for us to recognize the importance of the 5.9 gigahertz spectrum as well, and making sure that the FCC continues to protect that portion of the spectrum for transportation safety. And that's something that's really at risk right now. We're very fortunate to have, I think, a lot of industry partners that are out there advocating to keep the 5.9 gigahertz spectrum reserved for transportation safety. ITS America, the auto innovators, and some other partners out there, and the U.S. Department of Transportation. I mean, Secretary Chao has been a big champion for us for keeping that part of the spectrum reserved for transportation safety. And we're hopeful that the FCC recognizes that and decides to keep 5.9 gigahertz reserved for transportation. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that they make the right decision there. We'll see how things turn out here over the next few months. Again, I want to welcome everyone to this live event announcing the NOCO TSMO Award overall winner as the Georgia Department of Transportation. I have a few more questions for Meg Perkle, Matt Glasser, and Alan Davis, but a reminder that the NOCO Awards are open to all agencies and organizations, and next year's award submissions will be open later today following this event. We'll post some details at the end of this session here on next year's categories. So Georgia's TSMO program has had a lot of wins over the last few years, and I know the National Operations Center of Excellence has done a number of case studies on your work in Georgia. What's next for TSMO in Georgia? What are the current challenges you're seeing or what are the current challenges you see TSMO addressing in your state?
I think one thing, and I think this is true of all state DOTs, we've got to make the most of the system we have. And that's been our mantra for a long time, is really operating the system effectively and sustaining it for this growing economy. And Georgia is definitely a growing state. And so many vital sectors just depend on safe, efficient, and reliable transportation. So I don't see TSMO waning in importance at all. It is always going to be the focus of how do we make the most of our system because of the limited dollars we have to expand. So, but I'll let you guys talk more about the technical things coming down the pipe.
Matt, you want to start?
Sure. So, we're really excited about our next generation ATMS platform. We are partnering with CAPSH to get that delivered this coming summer. And one of the things that has been touched on by both Alan and Meg has been that, the way that we look at our consultants in the state of Georgia is very much as partners that we're working with, that they're not working for us. And they brought a lot of really great approaches forward. They've understood the business needs that we have and understand the challenges that we face. And so we're very much looking forward to that deployment and following in suit with what Alan and his team had did for the traffic signals, the traffic signal software. Our intent is to make that software and the associated license available to all of our local partners for free. If you want to be using this platform, we as a DOT want to make that possible and easy for you to do. And so that's something that we're actively working towards right now. We have partners in North Carolina that I believe are going to be adopting a similar system. So we're excited to be working alongside them in the years to come to continue to develop that.
We mentioned connected vehicles earlier, and that's been a huge focus area for Georgia in the last couple of years. We've been very aggressive in deploying infrastructure to equip our infrastructure to support connected vehicle applications with focuses on safety and mobility, all utilizing that precious 5.9 gigahertz safety spectrum that you mentioned, and how critical it is that remains for transportation. That's really the linchpin of what making all this work together, all that technology that has so much realized promise in it to really scale out. We are building out an ecosystem, especially here in Metro Atlanta, but really across the state, again, to enable that infrastructure for connectivity for a whole suite of applications. And I think that as we continue to proliferate that technology, we'll see a lot of these different applications and projects, all the way from automated traffic signal performance measures to the next generation ATMS to a host of other things, really begin to come together and realize just exponential benefits to the system's operation from a safety and mobility perspective.
I think the last thing that I'd like to throw in, again, giving kudos to Meg and the executive leadership at GDOT, as well as the Atlanta Regional Commission, is that, as Meg was saying, there's only so much we can do to build our way out. And I think that there is a certain priority to what we can be doing on the TSMO side of the house. And to that end, we were just given approval, I think, less than a month ago to form a working group with ARC about doing joint data acquisitions with them, basically to figure out how we can maximize our purchasing power as large agencies to benefit the region and the state as a whole. So where can we minimize overlapping data sets? Where can we purchase larger data sets that can help all of us out and then fuse those together to help out the offices of planning, roadway design, traffic operations, emergency operations. There's a lot of shared needs between these different groups, and by having that working group officially recognized, we're taking those steps to tear down silos.
I mean, those are great answers there. I mean, I get this feeling from a lot of the answers that you all have provided is that it's a very selfless approach, right? I mean, you're looking to take the experiences that you've had and the technology that you've been able to develop, and you're open to sharing it with anybody that's interested in it, because it'll help it advance the state of TSMO in general, but also improve, I think, our transportation system overall. And I think it goes beyond just across the state of Georgia. I mean, I think that there are benefits to be had here nationwide as we continue to make progress, not only in TSMO, but I think that in other areas within transportation. And I think it's just, I think state DOTs often don't get enough credit for their ability to work with their local partners and to work across state lines and with their private sector partners to be able to advance projects like this. And I think that we're doing a better job here through programs like the TSMO Awards to be able to promote that. So I think it's great that we're able to do that. So before we get to our last question, I just want to say again, congratulations to all the TSMO Award category winners: North Carolina DOT, the Washington DOT, Houston TransStar. They all had fantastic projects, and I encourage you to look at the case studies for their work and the work of many other agencies on the Center for Operations Excellence case study webpage in the chat box. So before we go, I wanted to ask about what's next in the world of TSMO. What do you all think that is really on the cutting edge from a TSMO standpoint? Automated traffic signal performance measures has been developing for several years. And we've obviously provided incredible benefits through traffic signal performance measures. So what is emerging now and that you feel will have the same type of impact for Georgia or across the transportation network overall?
We talk about automated traffic signal performance measures as an existing technology and tool, but I really do think we're just now scratching the surface on that. And I think data sets and data sources like that, with the introduction of, to use a few buzzwords, of machine learning and AI and things like that, will truly enhance the potential of those kinds of data sets. They'll really amplify the ability of an operations engineer or traffic engineer or anyone in a DOT, not even just in operations, but in design, construction, maintenance, the whole gambit of things, really amplify their efforts to better focus their resources, cover more ground, if you will, with their resources, and be a lot smarter as an agency in where we focus our efforts.
I would agree. And I think, looking at what's coming, it's just exciting to see the possibilities, not just for the efficiency of our operation and how we use this data, but I think we're going to see real returns in safety benefit at the end of the day of how we operate our roads better and, and make good use of this information to improve the overall safety of the traveling public. I think, like Alan said, we're just scratching the surface, especially when we talk about connected vehicles and automated vehicles, and the possibilities are just endless and exciting.
Great. Well, again, congratulations to the Georgia Department of Transportation for being this year's TSMO Award overall winner. And thank you to Meg Perkle, Matt Glasser, and Alan Davis for joining me today. Again, next year's TSMO Awards are open for submission today. So it's time to get your submissions ready for an opportunity to win one of these prestigious awards. We will have new categories this year, so make sure you check out the chat box to the right for details. Also, earlier this week, we honored this year's TSMO champions, Tony Cradafil and Faisal Salim. We heard from them on TSMO at the state and the local levels with departments of transportation and how they've been change agents for TSMO, not only in their agencies, but really across the country. So be sure to view that event on the NOCO YouTube Live channel. Again, I'm Jim Timon, the Executive Director of AASHTO, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.